Hello there, my fellow Cybertronians. This is Mecha Ginger on the Ginger Transformer podcast. Before I start my video today for the first installment of WFC Siege, we just found out about the tariffs that will probably be hitting collectors like myself and all y'all. Damn, it's amazing what a difference like a week or so can make, huh? I'm going to try to keep collecting as long as possible. I mean, I promised myself I would stop at like 30, then 35, then 40. Here I am, I'm still collecting. But this could be the nail in the coffin for my collecting. When we're looking at prices, some of which seem to be doubling, depending on size or class size. You know, your deluxes, your voyagers, your leaders. Don't bankrupt yourself. I am a collector, so it's almost hypocritical advice, but don't bankrupt yourselves. If things get too expensive, I'm not gonna lie. I will probably bail. I'll buy maybe a HasLab, like a once a year thing, or if there's something like I just really want throttle butts. If I want something I really want comes at throttle butts, then maybe. But bar that, I think I might be done. But I hope the tariffs that are being implemented. I hope it won't stop so many of you doing what you're doing, because being forced to stop doing something you love doing, we shouldn't have to, I'm sorry, I found out these not long before I started making this video. It's still fresh in the mind, and I wanted to stop collecting on my terms, if you know what I mean. I didn't want to stop because I was basically forced to because things became too pricey. But anyway, yeah, on to a quick review of Siege. War for Cybertron Siege. This, I think, like the last trilogy, the War for Cybertron trilogy, is G1 adjacent. It's Generation 1 characters, but I think it's Generation 1 adjacent because this is supposed to be a prequel series, but a lot of stuff in it really just screams no. It's not, I mean, for example, and we'll get there. I have examples, and I'll get to it as we go, right? So, War for Cybertron Siege series is set completely on Cybertron. Autobots are in a losing battle against the Decepticons. This much is kind of like canon anywhere. The Autobots always seem to be on the back foot at the start. Decepticons at least have like surrender stations, which I don't know, whether like Decepticon internment camps. I'm not sure, for Autobots, but the war isn't going all that well. And next we kick back to the very first episodes of Generation One. First two bots we see on screen, really, who like talk to each other, and they're hiding from Decepticons. Bumblebee and Wheeljack. Bumblebee not an Autobot here. He looks out for himself. Wheeljack's an Autobot. I think Bumblebee's an Energon scavenger, so which leads him to finding a derelict space bridge, and he's like, "Listen, pay me my stuff. I've done my job. Cue the Decepticons. The Seekers, led by Jetfire, with the Starscream as his bitch, basically, which is interesting because know how to say they love each other. And at one point, it does look like Starscream's ready to start a revolt against Jetfire because of his incompetent commander skills or some crap like that. Basically after he gets his arm lobbed off by him for being a smartass. Megatron turns up, starts being all Megatron-y. Basically, he's slagging off Bumblebees, like, at least this guy's about to die. He picked his side, Kill him. Yeah, I got respect for kill him. Prime turns up. Elite One's a sniper. They rescue both of them and they get away from the Decepticons. Megatron using this to spin this and say the Autobots ambushed them, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they didn't ambush shit. But basically, they go back to the one sanctuary that they seem to have. There are other Autobot bases, as confirmed later, but this seems to be the main sanctuary. It's the Ark, but obviously it's not buried in the mountain. It's like just like on its struts, just sitting there, behind some sort of giant cloaking field, or the Decepticons would have minced it. And basically, the entire premise of this is Shockwave suggests that they use the Allspark, and introduced really in Bayverse. But I'm sidelining that. They're going to use that, they're going to find it, and use it to reformat all the Autobots into Decepticons. Even Optimus's own advisors, Elita and Ultra Magnus, are saying, listen, just, give up. We're getting pumped, to the point where Ultra Magnus actually goes to Megatron. He's not defecting, but he's like, listen, we want the war to end. We want peace. Blah blah blah. Megatron's like, yeah, no problem. Get your boss to surrender. He's like, he won't do that. Okay, throw him in a cell. You knew that was coming. Everybody. Okay, I'm just gonna say it now. Ultra Magnus dies. This is why I'm thinking that it's G1 adjacent is not like straightforward G1 because Magnus is very much alive in the future. Prime finds out he's dead. Something called the Alpha Trion protocols, which were in Ultra Magnus's head, gets transferred to Bumblebee, who really just doesn't want anything to do with the Autobots at this point. He kind of sells all the energon he finds to like Sound Blaster, who is a separate entity from Soundwave. I mean, yeah, he's a clone. It's mentioned that he has his clone, but he's made a name for himself. It's not just clone of Soundwave. It's like he's like a mercenary. Or at least he's got the Merc insignia. He's like this big. It's basically like a gangland drug lord kind of thing. If ever and all things drugs were energy, with his own henchmen and shit. Meanwhile, Prime, believing he was getting a signal from Magnus to come and find the Allspark, blah blah blah. No, 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 no. Magnus screwed up there and let the Decepticons get a hold of their super secret Autobot signal. And yeah, they use that wavelength to contact the Autobots. Oh, it's Magnus. I found the Allspark. Come meet me. So Prime and Alita and Chromia, Cog, and a few others all go and get ambushed the shit off. Of course, Megatron isn't there, but you've got Impactor, who is a Decepticon at this point. I think you've got Spinister, you've got Flywheels. I think he goes by something else in this. I think it was a problem with it was a trademark problem with with the name, but it's fucking Flywheels, Reflector and a bunch of other Decepticons. Now, I will say this about this series: there's a lot of cannon fodder on both sides. They basically take different molds, throw new colours on them, and pray you just don't ask any questions. I mean, once again, it's like the first series, for something that's supposed to be promoting a toy line and all the toys in the toy line. There aren't that many. More than the previous trilogy, but not by much. After all that, Impact is rescued by Ratchet, who isn't part of the Autobots either, and Prime has to go to him. Please help us fix the space bridge. Tells him to get fecked, you know. And then there's a little bit of an argument between Mirage and Impactor. Blah 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 blah. Fight for freedom. Blah blah. You don't know who I am. Blah blah. Oh my god, Don't you think Ratchet's got an attitude? I like it because he's a bit of a pussy in G1. And so Impactor, because Ratchet says he'll help, Impactor says he'll go along because Ratchet saved his life. He's still a Decepticon, he's still loyal to Decepticons, but they left him for dead, and Ratchet found them and basically nursed them back to health. So they go to the space bridge and start trying to fix it. Meanwhile, Bumblebee turns up at the Ark again. Where's Prime? Why? Because I've got shit in my head. What is it? And he's actually able to talk to Prime. I don't know. It's like, does he shut down? His eyes kind of go green, and he goes into this kind of like landscape in his head, and he meets kind of Alpha Trion. It's like the protocols, but they show themselves as Alpha Trion, because Prime's in the Matrix. Someone else has to have the protocols to keep things in line. Blah blah blah. I'm just gonna tell you how Magnus died. Right? You don't find out the significance like properly of this. There's a place called Tannhauser Gate on Cybertron. And apparently there was a big battle there, and people were dying left, right, and centre. Magnus basically said to Megatron, "Yeah, I'll take you to the Autobots base after being tortured the living shit off for God knows how long," and then refusing to shoot Megatron in the back when he finally got free at one point. Turns out he doesn't betray the Autobots. He obviously doesn't. He's Ultra Magnus, and Megatron just flat out kills him, and then the thing, and that's how it got the Bumblebee. Right about this time, Jetfire has killed Skywarp because they found the Autobot base. Skywarp was just ready to start killing everything that moves because, good old Decepticons. Jetfire here, like in G1, has a conscience. He did not sign up for genocide. He didn't sign up for slaughter. He'd signed up just to win. I don't think he realised just how bad it would be, what it would take to win, I mean, in the other series, he's a scientist. In this, he was the leader of the Seekers. I don't know if the moral compass is quite where it was for the original G1, but there's enough of it there to make him go, this is wrong, and basically sticks Skywarp, who goes away and tells Starscream. Catch up to this point. Magnus is dead. Jetfire turns up. Starscream turns up and goes, "He's a murdering bastard," and Jetfire basically admits, "Yes, I did." So he's very disappointed in Jetfire. Megatron is, but yeah, they all try to kill him. He gets away. The Seekers go after him, try to kill him. Megatron wants him dead. Starscream assumes he's dead. Comes back and becomes leader of the Seekers. Both Shockwave and Soundwave, they don't like that. They're both like, oh, but they're not going to question Megatron. No one questions Megatron, Zoom back the way, right? zoom forward. Sorry. Shockwave has this idea. Seems though we can't seem to find the Allspark. Let's just wipe them all out. Megatron's like, yeah, pretty much okay. It's an original idea. At this point, however, the Autobots are able to find the Allspark with the help of Jetfire, who's now asked them for asylum and is willing to do anything to prove his not as much loyalty, but he's not going to hurt any of them. It's a lot of back and forth. Basically, they find the Allspark. Once they get the Allspark, they have to get it off planet. Now, there's a myth about if you throw the Allspark, take it off world, it will end Cybertron. But Megatron's going to use it to reformat all the Autobots, so Prime doesn't feel like he's got a choice. One of these things. But yeah, things start kicking off like big. When you use the corpse of Ultra Magnus, this is how they do it. This is how they shut down all the Autobot defenses. They use the corpse of Ultra Magnus, boom, to start shutting things down left, right, and centre. That's where we see at least one other Autobot base who's trying to report to the Ark while bad things are happening to that. Is Cliffjumper. And then the screen shuts down and you never see him again. He's probably dead. At least you don't see it this time. Yes. But yeah, things start going very bad for the Autobots. Because Megatron is very, very commanding at this point. He's got a presence. He speaks to like a gladiatorial arena full of like Decepticons, and people who are just being, joining up for the cause. Come the next series, more full of them. But basically, it all comes to a head when Megatron finds out where Optimus's base is, or where the Ark is, and launches a full-scale attack. Prime's not there because he's away getting the Allspark at this point. So we've got a few Autobots in the Ark trying to defend it as best they can. You've got Bumblebee, Cog, and RC, who come back from Sound Blasters after robbing him. Yes, they robbed him. They robbed him of his Energon. When Shockwave initiates this thing that starts wiping out all Autobot code everywhere, it hits the Alpha Triangle protocols as well, effectively rendering Bumblebee inert. And he's in the driving seat. So Hershey's like, take him, move this, go, get us the hell out of here, so they turn up with the Energon and there's battles and there's just shit as everything going on at this point, I mean, you see Astro Train at this point, he's fucking big. This one transformed, yeah, he could fit. He could fit Devastator. He's huge. He's not Titan size, but you're talking at least possibly Mega Supreme size, Just kind of like marching over all the tiny little people, and you're like, oh, fuck. But in Kingdom, he's like a normal size Transformer again, so go figure. Maybe it wasn't Astro Train, maybe someone just looked really like Astro Train, I'm saying it was Astro Train. Prime and that, they have to divvy up their stuff. People who are repairing the space bridge are under attack, and yes, as is Raison d'etre, Impactor dies. Wow, who saw that coming? But he did it to save Ratchet. But once again, he did it last time to save Zaron, and he did it to save others. Yeah, okay, that's basically just what he does. He dies to save other people. Not a bad way to die, but But anyway, starts kicking off just everywhere. Space bridge and where the Ark is, and on the way back from getting the Allspark, sweet Jesus. It starts kicking off everywhere. But things start to turn towards the Autobots' favour, They get the Energon on board the Ark, and all of a sudden the Ark, a Vanguard class starship with enough firepower to level a small moon, suddenly has power to its weapons. Megatron's armies are getting decimated left, right, and centre. At least there, right? So they get everyone they can on board the Ark, and they head off to the space bridge to help, where Prime is headed. She's like, I'm getting this off of here once and for all. It's going. It needs to go before Megatron uses it on us. So he's already there, and other people are fighting there. You've got Mirage. He tried to keep the space bridge under wraps for a while, but it nearly killed him. Massive Mirage you had to make. If only they had, I don't know, Hound who does holograms. They do all that, and they eventually get the Ark to the space bridge, but they keep it kind of hidden, like as a kind of last kind of stand kind of thing. and a bunch of Autobots come charging up from behind Optimus when he is outnumbered royally and probably about to die. And they're like, "For Cybertron!" They start just shooting, bang, 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 and everyone just starts shooting everything else at this point. I should mention that once Elf-Trion protocols were out of Ultra Magnus, Prime thought they would go back to the Guardians. The Guardians being the Guardian robots, aka the big blue ones from Generation 1. And Omega Supreme just happens to be one of those Guardians. The Guardians will take no part in the war. Omega will. He turns up for Cybertron, and he starts to make a difference. He's ploughing and just smashing Decepticons left, right, and centre. Now, Prime and Megatron are fighting at the precipice of the space bridge here. You know that he's climbing up and he's hitting him and he's blasting him and he hits him and he's got to hold on to the Allspark. And Megatron very nearly gets back off Prime. It's like, you're going to kill us all. I just want to reformat. You're going to kill us all. You're a fucking maniac. And Prime's like, yeah, well, I'd rather this than, be one of you. But Megatron gets him again. The Allspark goes down. Prime's basically just like, he's in trouble. He's in dire straits. Bumblebee turns up to save his ass. He saves him. Prime gets the Allspark and just heaves it through the space bridge. The space bridge, yeah, is operational at this point. That's what attracted the Decepticons, and that's why they're all shooting bang bang shit, right? So yeah, Megatron is ever so slightly peeved that he's just thrown that through the space bridge and basically, from Megatron's point of view, ended the world. Which Megatron, I'm not gonna lie, once you see the next few couple of seasons, he's not wrong, which is horrible. But once again, we'll get to those videos. There's a kind of like almost teary eyed bit, right? It's like the Autobots are retreating to the Ark, they're getting on the Ark. Come on, we have to go, we have to go, we have to. Red Alert gets shot, he falls down in some sort of chasm thing, right? Ah, no, not Red Alert. The one time he's not got Inferno with him. And then Prime's like, right, get on board. And Alita's like, no. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? She's like, someone has to stay here and defend Cybertron. You've got your mission, and now I've got mine. It's not the future I envisioned, but it's a future worth fighting for. That goes back to a much earlier episode where Prime had basically said the same thing to her. There's a future worth fighting for. He was just talking in general sense of stopping the Decepticons. She was talking about just, well, she is, but at the same time, it's much more emotional than when Prime said it, Because that's it. I mean, she's like, go. And I think someone must have been listening in the Ark because the Ark starts to hover up and she starts shooting where the Decepticons are coming from to give them comfort to go. And Prime, you can see him, and he leans down, and then he gets on his knees, and he's not wanting to leave her. And it's almost fucking heartbreaking. In the background, you're seeing Omega Supreme still whacking Decepticons who are now in full force. How many reflector drones they have, I have no idea. It looks like a couple of thousand. But everyone's shooting at Omega Supreme trying to take him down, right? Prime, he doesn't look good when he gets on the bridge. But he gets on the bridge and he gives the orders like Ironhide. Now, Ironhide pushes the things forward and the Ark takes off. Kind of slowly, if I'm completely honest. Slowly, but it takes off and then goes right into the space bridge, causing a massive explosion. The Ark's gone. Omega Supreme has disappeared, and that's it. You don't see him again in the next seasons. It's mentioned in the next season that he's disappeared and not shown up again, but that's pretty much it. And you see kind of Alita and you see Chromia kind of looking at each other, kind of we're in trouble. And Red Alert just kind of climbs back up the crevice. He's like, it's all right, I'm still here. And like, it was just the three of us, and Jetfire kind of like out of the mist, kind of, nope, there's four of us, kind of like, it was hurt bad, so he's like limping, he's like limping towards them. But it's like he's there to join them, he's going to fight with them against the Decepticons. Total Decepticons that were wiped out in that episode, just from the Ark alone, probably outweigh Autobot casualties. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You do have a wee bit right at the end after the four of them walk off. I wouldn't say triumphant. It's a wee kind of, it's dark. And it just becomes ever so slightly lighter so you can just make out the silhouette of the Ark kind of floating in space. And it's a kind of beep, beep, beep. And it goes into the Ark and you see that everyone's kind of like just lying down, passed out, unconscious, dead. You don't know at that point. And then it comes up on the Ark computer saying, warning, there's something coming towards us. Warning, there's something coming towards us. And you don't find out what it is for the next season. That's basically a very quick summary of pretty much as much as I can, of it because let's face it, it's many episodes long. Unlike the other ones, you kind of get the option of just watching them in one like block, one after the other, after the other, after the other. And when you got kids, you really can't concentrate. You try as you might, you know. We did get a lot of good Transformers in that line, a lot of them with their Cybertronian alt modes, you know, which I liked. Once again, between all three seasons, though, you get a decent amount of characters from the toy line, but you once again you don't get a lot, you don't get lots, you don't get all of them, you know. The amount of spare guys. I mean, we had like four red cogs. I don't even know if their names are red cog, which is cog in red, and they all kept getting blown up. I think Cog got gravely wounded at one point, but he bounced back. So the main cast, like the well, you got the Decepticon cast, you got the Seekers, Soundwave, Shockwave, Soundwave's cassettes, Jetfire for what Jetfire, Skyfire, well, while he's still a Decepticon. Millions of reflectors for some strange reason. All these other different coloured Seekers. Once again, a lot of cannon fodder, and that happens with the Autobots as well. You've got Optimus, you've got Alita, you've got Chromia, you've got Cog, you got Sideswipe, Red Alert. Eventually, you have Bumblebee and Ratchet as well, you know. But once again, you got all these other ones. They're all just like a lot of them just repaints of Sideswipe, hundreds. It's like there are literally all these characters you brought out as toys you could have just put in there. They don't even need to speak. You don't need to hire more voice actors. And unlike the last series where we actually got a lot of famous voice actors, I don't think we really get anyone famous. Not in this, not in Siege anyway. Earthrise, I'm pretty sure we have the exact same voice cast as well. I think we have a few new ones in Kingdom, given the Beast Wars characters are introduced. But yeah, you know what? Siege on the whole, I think is one of the best seasons of all this other stuff because it's like you're in the trenches with the Autobots, basically seeing things go to hell. You know, well, they're already in hell, but you know what I mean. But, it's a good TV show. Would recommend a watch. It's on Netflix. I think it's still on Netflix, along with the other two series. It's only about, I think it was 10 episodes. Eight sounds more right. But yeah, I mean, don't expect big voice actors. Don't even expect any of the normal voice actors like Peter Cullen or Frank Welker. It's no, none of them. They were all new voice actors. So I think I was basically just brought on so they could say, listen, no one really knows who you guys are, so we're gonna like pay you real cheap shit to do these voices. And to be fair, the guy that does the voice actors Prime is quite good. Yeah, so that was a very, very quick review. Deaths in it that weren't just randoms. Okay, let's make it very clear. Deaths that we know of. Ultra Magnus, R.I.P. He's gone. He's dead. He ain't coming back. I don't think. Once again, you don't find out if Omega Supreme is killed. You know, he just disappears. Cliffjumper, I think we can just say safely is dead because during this massive blackout thing that was happening, Decepticon kill swords were going about killing everyone that moved. So I'm assuming Cliffjumper's dead. Skywarp, dead. Killed by Jetfire. I don't think there's any more actual proper deaths in it, if I'm completely honest. I don't think that, Moonracer was in for one episode. She has her own figure, she has her own toy figure, but they just decided to make it a mint green chromia. But she dies. She's torn apart by an army of the dead, the Sparkless. But like I said, I don't know if I really count her because then I'd have to count like four different colors of cog. But you know what? Fuck it, Moonracer as well. Moonracer's dead. Not that. See, unless it's cannon fodder death, there's not a lot of death in this. Thousands of reflectors. But like I said, they could have done so much more with the characters they had. But in the toy line, they could have put in. Like I said, they could have just been background characters, occasionally saying, "Oh, yo," to like, obeying an order or something. Or if you're obeying orders from Megatron, yes sir, or right away, or people are more afraid of Megatron than Optimus for obvious reasons. Personally, I think it's a good series, worth a watch. Much less confusing than Earthrise, which is next. I apologise, but Earthrise is a bit confusing because it's going from Cybertron to some weird planetoid with a Quintesson on it, to some space bridge, which is half space, half planetoid, to the dead universe, to Earth. It's all over the fucking place in the next series. You thought my one here was sporadic? Oh, sweet fuck. No, this is Shakespeare compared to what my next video is probably going to be like. Okay, just quick warning. All I can say is, like I said, it's on Netflix. Have a look for yourself if you've not watched it. I think it's all right. Isn't a masterpiece. It is what it is. I'm going back to SS86 Megatron there, aren't I? It is what it is. Had to end on that note, didn't I? So anyway, yeah, next will be WFC Earthrise, which is really badly named because Earth is only in it for like 5, 10 minutes in the last episode. But hey, meh. So stay safe, roll out my fellow Cybertronians, and I will see you next time.